On air is Disposition, this is Gagarin, let's go. Quite contradictory news is coming from neighboring NATO countries. Even the Lithuanian President Nausėda, who has stopped surprising with his sharp statements, still managed to surprise. He stated that for the planned deployment of a division in the country by 2030, defense spending needs to increase from the current 3.5% to 5.5% of GDP. That's almost double, and this is just for one unit. So what is Lithuania currently planning to defend Europe from Russia and Belarus with? Vilnius has excelled in loud militant statements, eager for an offensive battle. However, it's not that simple. If you dig deeper, you'll find numbers regarding the size of the forming division. It will be 17,500 troops. The combat strength is actually doubled, calling it the deployment of just one division. Now imagine the uproar if Belarus announced and implemented something similar. Fortunately, we see and neutralize with continuous readiness to respond to any scale and turn of threats. By the way, the Polish Chief of Staff recently made an unexpected statement about readiness.
Whether a war will break out and when, in some sense, depends on us. Attacking a country well prepared for defense and whose society will resist poses a huge risk. Wisła Kukuła, Chief of the General Staff of Poland.
A country well prepared for defense. Everything depends on us. A society that will resist? What theses? Warsaw, of course, doesn't follow them, but it's pleasing that neighbors repeat the classics. The Belarusian president has been building a security system on this principle for 30 years. Apparently a contagious example for Poland, although it is indeed an example and advice on how to maintain peace.
History has taught us that any peaceful policy must be backed by a real ability of the state to protect its people. When discussing security issues, I constantly repeat the thesis. Keep your powder dry. Having combat-ready armed forces, a territorial defense system, and effective law enforcement institutions is a guarantee of peace and tranquility on our land.
Regarding the Polish general's words about creating risks for a potential adversary, indeed. Here too it's spot on, but Warsaw is currently producing risks, not mitigating them. They are purchasing hundreds of planes, tanks, missile systems, and bringing in NATO contingents. Recently, a U.S. missile defense base opened in Redzikowo. It can use both interceptor missiles for air defense and Tomahawk cruise missiles. Of course, we see all these neighborly initiatives.
We respond adequately to all these moments, to the tension near our borders. Militarization, especially uncontrolled militarization of our neighbors, aggressive rhetoric, the unwillingness of leadership, primarily of neighboring states, to find any common ground. All this, of course, reflects, including the conflict in the south of our country, in Ukraine. It all affects military security of our state. Understanding this situation, and as part of an adequate response, we must fulfill our tasks by increasing combat readiness.
In general, Minsk seems to remain almost the only cool-headed player in the region, adhering to the principle of sufficiency in deterring threats. Indeed, there is something to deter with.
We have everything necessary to guarantee our defense and, as the military say, inflict unacceptable damage on the enemy. This is the essence of our strategy.
It's important, of course, that the West doesn't inflict unacceptable damage on the entire planet. Leaders of some European countries are maniacally striving to escalate the conflict in Ukraine, allowing Kiev to strike deep into Russia. They plan to do this, it seems, before US President Trump takes office, who might lower the tension. Moscow recently issued a very stern warning on this matter.
The Kremlin will consider allowing Ukraine to strike deep into Russian territory as NATO countries entering a direct armed conflict. And the Russian response to this decision will be inevitable and devastating for the West. Maria Zakharova, official representative of the Russian Foreign Ministry.
It seems like the needle's eye for peace is getting narrower. One must undoubtedly be a professional to pass through it. Fortunately, we have an experienced helmsman. Even strong critics of Belarus admit that the country has charted an almost ideal path to security. Perhaps this path will be noticed by more than just one Polish general, and not only voiced.